Zaapko is a B2B commerce platform, and this is one of the unique platforms that were created primarily for liquidating the surplus inventory.
Guruprasad Deshpande is a seasoned leader with 25 plus years of global experience in sales, business, and technology. As co-founder and CEO of Zaapko, he is reshaping B2B e-commerce and driving meaningful impact in the industry.
Why would anyone have a surplus inventory? They have a surplus inventory basically because either it's going to be a demand-supply mismatch,
Right.
or it could be a product that is delisted,
Okay.
or there could be a product where they are changing the grammage. Like basically it's an 80 mg product and now they want to discontinue 80 mg and make it to 95 mg.
Oh.
So then what do you do with that 80 mg finished goods?
Right.
What do you do with the raw materials?
Right.
So these are all the challenges.
What will happen to the excess surplus if Zaapko did not buy it?
First of all, there is no space for the new goods to be produced. Like
Right.
imagine that you have got one warehouse or
Yeah.
probably two warehouses. You stock the excess inventory.
Yeah.
Now you also have the fresh production.
Exactly.
Now where will you store it? The second most important thing is the more you store, the more you are actually decreasing the shelf life. You know, a product has got a 3-year shelf life.
Yeah.
Now let's say that 1 year you are not able to sell.
Okay.
So you just have another 2 years of shelf life in your warehouse.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
What happens if you store for another 6 months? The shelf life will become 1.5 years. So the more you store, you are actually killing the shelf life.
I would like to ask you, because few days ago I looked at your platform. I was looking for the indoor bike. The price in your platform is only about 3.9 million. I look at the Tokopedia, it's about 5.9. So your platform offered 2/3 of the market price. How do you make profit? How do you make it possible?
Let's say, the product is costing, say 3.9 million.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens if a company destroys the product? The entire 3.9 is gone, and you're also paying some money for destruction. So what's happening? I mean, the company is incurring the cost of the product, cost of the storage, cost of insurance, plus cost of destruction.
The profit is very low.
There's no profit.
No.
There's no profit at all. Absolutely. So rather than paying something for destroying,
Yeah.
give it to us.
Hi Hivers, welcome to the next episode of Hive Intelligence Podcast. It's a privilege for us to welcome a very excellent guest, Pak Guruprasad Deshpande, or so-called Pak Guru. Thank you for coming to our podcast, Pak.
Thank you, Pa. Thanks for having me.
Finally, we got you in our podcast. Thank you so much. We are very happy to have Pak Guru here in our podcast to talk about circular economy as well as B2B commerce. And we know Pak Guru, he is a co-founder and CEO of Zaapko, a platform which focuses on liquidating excess supply and pre-owned inventory. And he is also a co-founder of Utara Center for Performing Arts in Hyderabad. Wow, you have a lot of interest on many different things.
Well, Pa, life is all about different colors,
Wow.
right? And it's always good to have other hobbies and cultivate them into passion, so that the best practices of each and every profession can complement each other.
Excellent. Wow, that's very interesting. Pak Guru have over 25 years experience in sales, business development, information technology, and supply chain management. He has worked for Tata Group, Oracle Financial Services, Anthology Loginex, to name a few. And he has advised multiple revenue generating startup in Indonesia as well in abroad. Pak Guru has always been a staunch believer in customer advocacy. He aimed to add value in every stage of customer engagement. And he mentioned that every employee recruited to his company would be an addition to his own family. That's a wonderful philosophy, Pak.
Absolutely, Pa, absolutely. Because I believe in the culture of creating a family ecosystem and not an employee ecosystem.
Okay.
And the more you have a family, there's going to be a bond beyond work.
Beyond work, yeah.
And that's where companies become successful.
Wow. That's very profound, Pa. Thank you so much. Pak Guru, thank you so much for coming here. And we are very interested in learning from you. You mentioned a couple of principles already that we should have many aspects in life and how to treat people or employee. But we would like to start with your very platform, Zaapko. It's a very growing platform. In fact, in 2023, Zaapko has already reached nearly 5,000 villages in Java, Sumatra, Kalimantan, and has liquidated 7.5 million units in a single year. Please let us know what is Zaapko doing and what is the secret of achieving such growth.
Well, Zaapko is a B2B commerce platform.
Right.
It's an e-commerce platform. And this is one of the unique platforms that were created primarily for liquidating the surplus inventory. Now, especially during COVID, if you look at it, and 2020, a couple of years when you step back, you saw that there's been a lot of issues in terms of these manufacturing companies. And as we know, the manufacturing companies contribute 25% of the Indonesian's GDP.
Yes.
Right? So what used to happen, especially during this COVID, right? Many of these companies who were manufacturing, be it any sector, right? I mean, it could be health, the FMCG, or you take up mining, or you take up some other industry. They all had a problem of not selling the products.
That's true, yeah.
Right? So this was basically because people lost their jobs. There were no resources available in the company. And obviously there has been a demand and supply mismatch with the companies. And so these problems were recurring.
Okay.
So at the end of it, what used to happen was the inventory that was left out after production, that was actually a huge problem. It used to get piled up. And we wanted to address that problem first.
Right.
So what we did was basically we created a platform. We got all this inventory to get listed on the platform. And then the question came as to where do we sell?
Okay, yes.
Right? So
big question.
Yeah, that's a huge question as to where do we sell this? Because obviously there are challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, the principals, they have their own distribution channel. And we can't go into that channel and try to cut the price and sell. So that becomes a price war. That creates a price war. It creates a conflict in the market.
Yeah.
So what we did was basically we found out alternate avenues to sell. And we found out some of our partners. We signed with some of our partners who actually took this product to the interiors of all the villages. And especially when you have a huge product, and I mean the product base and the excess inventory, principals, what they do, I mean, they try to do a distress sale.
Distress sale.
Okay. So what happens is basically to liquidate, because obviously, right, when you hold an inventory, it is not just the cost of inventory. It is the cost of your insurance. It is the cost of carrying cost of that particular inventory.
Right.
And it's the storage cost. It all adds up to the product cost.
Right.
And if the product cost is say X,
the
cost when you compile and consolidate might be even 3X.
That's true. Yeah.
Right. And there's a heavy pressure on the companies to write off the assets.
You mean write off as in
just write it off. I mean,
from
because
the book.
Absolutely, because what happens is when you hold the inventory, right, you're actually blocking cash.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So and then what auditors say is basically, hey, write this off. We don't want this anymore in our books. Then what's going to happen? It's going to impact the profitability of the company.
I see.
So what we thought is basically, why don't we take those goods at a price which is reasonably lower than the market?
Yeah.
And then try to distribute it to the channels where the regular supply is not happening.
Okay.
You go to maybe Desa Dua, Desa Tiga, Desa Empat, tiered villages of Indonesia.
Okay, remote areas.
Remote areas. And probably a farmer living in a remote area, let's say Kedari or some other place very close, that person wouldn't know how a branded product looks like.
Yes.
Or how a branded shampoo looks like, or how a branded soap looks like. So imagine that you are selling this to that particular person.
Yeah.
At least he would be able to afford a branded product at a lower price.
Right.
Right? And this is what was our, I would so-called the mantra that we adopted in terms of making sure that we not only liquidate and help the principals on one side, but at the same time also distribute such products to those people who are below the poverty line, so that at least they can afford this particular product.
Good quality products.
Absolutely. And this has got a shelf life because we are very clear that we don't take any products which are expired. Because then it doesn't make sense, right? So there are a lot of use cases, right? I mean, why would anyone have a surplus inventory? They have a surplus inventory basically because either it's going to be a demand-supply mismatch, or it could be a product that is delisted.
Okay.
Or there could be a product where they are changing the grammage. Like basically it's an 80 mg product and now they want to discontinue 80 mg and make it to 95 mg.
Oh.
So then what do you do with that 80 mg finished goods? What do you do with the raw materials? So these are all the challenges.
I see. Wow.
So what we do is basically, our philosophy is very simple. We say to the customers, we say to the suppliers, hey, while you manage your business, let us manage your inventory.
Okay. Wow.
So that's the secret behind the success.
That's a very good business model, Pak. That you manage the business who sell the goods with a piling inventory, as well as finding the demand for the goods. So what would happen to the you mentioned that they will write off the inventory, the excess surplus from the books. What will happen to the excess surplus if Zaapko did not buy it? What usually happens?
See, it's a very thought-provoking question. See, what happens is, like, if the inventory is piling up, right? First of all, there is no space for the new goods to be produced. Like, imagine that you have got one warehouse or probably two warehouses. You stock the excess inventory. Now you also have the fresh production.
Exactly.
Now where will you store them? Right? So that is one thing. That's one big issue that comes up. Right? The second most important thing is, the more you store, the more you are actually decreasing the shelf life.
Shelf life
as in the total period of consumption. Like for example, if a product has got a 3-year shelf life. Now let's say that 1 year you are not able to sell.
Okay.
So you just have another 2 years of shelf life in your warehouse. Right? What happens if you store for another 6 months? The shelf life will become 1.5 years. So the more you store, it is actually you're actually killing the shelf life.
Right.
So the best part is to ensure, see, it is like to minimize your risk of carrying the inventory. The earlier you minimize the risk, it is going to be beneficial for you. Because at least you are able to realize the value. You are able to unlock the asset value which is stored. Now what happens if you start storing? Right? And you're not able to sell. You do a lot of campaigns, but still there is a lot of storage.
Exactly.
There's no other way but to destroy them.
Really?
Yeah. You destroy them.
Burn?
You either burn them or probably find some place to just go and dump it.
Wow. Yeah.
And you know the impact.
Yeah, it has negative impact to the environment.
Absolutely. And especially, I mean, there are a lot of companies who do this destruction and they have these certifications and other things to ensure that there is sustainability and things like that. But end of it, it's a product which is destroyed. Right?
I see.
And it can't be, I mean, it's like wasting a food.
Right.
I mean, anyone else could have eaten it. Right? So similar way, this product also someone else could have used it. And if you have a 1 year or a 1.5 year shelf life, you can easily distribute and also consume within the shelf life.
Exactly.
And that is a better matrix for all companies rather than destroying them.
Yes, that's true. Wow.
Right? So what we actually tell companies is, hey, while we know that you take a lot of steps to destroy, but a destruction is a destruction.
That's true. Yeah.
Right? I mean, you
release emission a lot.
Though you have this renewable energies and things like that, but once you destroy, it is going to at least have an impact. And if you look at the global carbon emission index, last year, 2023, it was 60 gigatons of carbon emissions that actually was recorded. And in 2024, it was 100 gigatons.
So increased by 40%
easily, right?
Even more.
Yeah. So it's more than 40%.
More than 40%, 60%.
Yeah. So that's a very dangerous thing, right? At the end of the day, and if you look at if you further break it down, right? 45% of the 1,000 gigatons came in from Southeast Asia.
45% come from. So we are consuming a lot and we are also wasting a lot.
Absolutely. You are producing a lot and you are destroying a lot.
Wow.
Right? And the balance 55% was the rest of the world, which included, US, UK.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And let me also give you an interesting statistics. If you further break it down, right? 30% of the carbon emissions came in from burning the fossil fuels.
Yes.
And 30% came in from burning the food wastage.
Oh.
And 40% came in from destroying the FMCG goods.
40% coming from destroying. It's a very big number.
It's a huge number. It's a huge number. And what are we trying to solve is basically, if you look at the surplus inventory market today, as of 2022 March, 22 March. Let me also give you the latest figures. As of 2022 March, the surplus inventory market was a $5 billion market only in Indonesia.
Wow.
A $5 billion in 2022.
US dollars.
Right?
Yeah.
And in 2024, this has increased to $12 billion.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? And just look at it.
A very big market.
It's a huge opportunity. Opportunity. And if you look at the entire Southeast Asia, it's a $50 billion market.
Okay. Not including China, of course. Southeast Asia only,
Yeah, I'm talking about Southeast Asia. And if you look at the global index, right? You have China on the number one.
Yeah.
Then you have US. Then you have India.
Okay.
Then you have Indonesia.
Okay.
Then you have Thailand. So these are the 5 major countries who are contributing heavily on this to this carbon emissions.
I see. Yeah.
So that's where we are coming with a very innovative model.
Yeah.
To tell people around that, hey, let's try and recycle back to the economy.
I see.
And that's where we have embraced the tenet of the circular economy.
I see. Wow. Very interesting. Yeah. I completely agree about recycle the economy, circular economy that we have to further improve. I would like to ask you, because few days ago I looked at your platform. I was looking for the indoor bike. The price in your platform is only about 3.9 million rupiah. I look at the Tokopedia, it's about 5.9. So your platform offered 2/3 of the market price. How do you make profit? How do you make it possible?
Well, Pa, it is like, let's say, the product is costing, say, 3.9 million.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens if a company destroys the product? The entire 3.9 is gone.
Yeah.
And you're also paying some money for destruction.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's happening? I mean, the company is incurring the cost of the product, cost of the storage, cost of insurance, plus cost of destruction.
The profit is very low.
There's no profit.
No.
There's no profit at all. Absolutely. They just expense that out. There is no profit.
I see. Okay.
So rather than paying something for destroying, give it to us. and give it to us at a price
Yeah.
which is actually maybe the production cost price.
Right.
So at least you are recovering your production cost.
Mm.
Instead of paying for destruction and losing the entire product carrying cost, product cost, insurance cost,
Yeah.
you at least recover the cost of production.
I see. Yeah.
So that's actually the way we operate.
Mm. Yeah.
And we guarantee them that we are not going to create a price war. We have agreements in place. We have a lot of checks and balances internally. We do a lot of due diligence internally to ensure that it doesn't go and conflict with the regular trade. It could be a general trade or a modern trade. It should not affect that. So that's the reason we have created our own ecosystem of distribution, which goes to all the tiered cities of Indonesia.
Yes.
And also we do exports as well.
Oh, you do exports?
Absolutely, yes. So what we do is basically, we have exported to Australia, we have exported to Pakistan,
Okay.
Uzbekistan, and a lot of inquiries are coming in from Africa now.
Oh, wow.
So because what happens is, they would love to use some of these products.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if we are probably giving them a better price,
Yeah.
at least someone else will use it.
Yeah. Wow, that's very interesting. But
Yeah.
it's interesting to me that you actually live up to the sustainability framework, which is people and planet, but also profit. I think when you try to live up to this framework, it's usually easy to perform 2 out of 3. Maybe people and planet, but not profit, or people and profit, but not planet, or the other 2. So how tell me about how do you keep improving this sustainability framework in your organization?
This reminds me of a very famous act that we see in the circus.
Yeah.
Right? The performer has got only 2 hands.
2 hands.
And you've got 3 balls.
Yeah.
Right? So it is like you need to ping pong these balls and make sure that none of these 3 things that you stated in terms of planning, people and profits, they don't go down.
Exactly.
So what we all do in Zaapko is we all have 2 hands. We start pinging 3 balls.
Okay.
And that's how we,
It happens. Yeah.
carry on the company. But this is on a lighter note. But on a professional note, I think it's definitely a challenge because what happens is there's a lot of things that come into picture, right? When you're actually giving away the goods.
Yeah.
Right? Many of the buyers also, they have a psychological pattern. Oh, why is Zaapko giving this at this price?
Yeah.
Is this a genuine product?
Yeah.
Or is it something that's, taken from a back door? There's so many things that come up. Right?
I see. How do you answer them?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we do is basically we do our own quality checks. We make sure that we do not buy from any mom and pop store. Our interactions are only with the principals, not even at a distributor level.
Okay.
So that we take the principals into confidence.
Yeah.
And then we actually carry out this activity.
Oh.
So if any buyer has some concerns, we provide the necessary documentation that will address their concerns.
Oh, okay. So communication, transparency.
Transparency is
important.
a key in this because you cannot be, secretive about things.
Yeah.
You have to be transparent, but at the same time, you need to protect the company's, the principal's interest also.
Right.
Because see, what happens is, when you keep supplying the surplus inventory, right, there is always a mindset that strikes the buyers, saying that, hey, let's not buy from the regular distributor.
Exactly,
let's
right.
wait
Yeah.
till Zaapko gives, because anyways Zaapko has got the excess inventory. So that's the, I would say, the boon and bane of this model. Like, we don't get the same SKUs every month. The SKUs keep changing.
I see.
Right? So it is a challenge for the buyers also, it is a challenge for us also.
I see.
Because at the end of the day, you can't predict what is going to be a surplus inventory for this month versus next month versus the next month.
You don't predict that, right?
It's difficult.
Yeah. Okay.
And once they know in this month that this SKU is excess,
Yeah.
the production department in the principal company will take complete measures to see that it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But some other product might be excess again.
Exactly.
Right? So the SKUs are not repetitive in this business.
Right.
So that's the challenge. So that's where the network, the communication, the transparency, and the demand per se comes into the foreplay.
I see. Wow. Can I touch a little bit on that point, Pa? You mentioned about making sure that there is no price war between Zaapko price and normal distributor, smaller distributor price. Are you saying that you are not selling the goods at the same place with the normal distributor network?
No, we are not. We are making sure that we don't do that.
Oh.
Because that will create an unnecessary price war.
I see.
And especially the tracking becomes very, very, very difficult. Because how would you, like for example, you have a carton.
Yeah.
Now, how would you know where this carton has gone?
Yeah.
Like for that, you need to put in some, blockchain and things like that.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's quite an expensive affair as of now. But obviously, it's not something that is not possible. But having said that, we actually don't go to the same distribution channel. So what we do is we work with the village heads.
Okay.
And the communities, like it could be an Ibu community, it could be a Islamic community, or it could be a Christian missionary. Right. So we actually, so the last mile person who consumes our product are all from these communities.
Okay, I see. Yeah.
But there might be a small Warung or a Warthek where this entire goods might go and they might buy from them. But end of the day, it doesn't go to any trader or any distributor.
Oh, they don't sell it again.
Yeah,
they consume it.
Yeah, they consume it.
Oh.
So primarily, our target market are these communities, like this Ibu community and the Islamic communities and things like that.
Right, Pa. Very interesting, Pa. So with regard to selling excess surplus, many people say that. Actually, although it might seems like it reduces waste, some people said it could actually encourage excessive consumerism because people would consume more than they would have to. Do you buy this argument?
I would say, what's wrong, Pa? Because end of the day, instead of destroying something, someone is using it.
Right. It's already a waste without any intervention.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, someone is benefiting from that product.
Yeah.
Let's say it could be a beverage.
Yeah.
It could be a noodle, or it could be a personal care product.
Yeah.
Right. So what's happening is you're actually destroying them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So instead of that, if someone else uses it, why
That's
not?
good. Yeah.
Why not? I mean, at least, so then what happens is you are actually creating a economic equilibrium. Or else what is going to happen? The people who are living in, say, in metropolitan cities and things like that, they always use the product which they can afford.
Right.
If you look at people below the poverty line, maybe he just uses one soap for washing his clothes, for his body, for his head, everything, right?
Yeah.
So why not encourage him to say that, hey, there are other products also available in the market. I mean, at whatever price you are buying that soap, if I'm giving probably the same price or probably some addition to that price or probably some reduction to that price, why don't you try it? At least he will know how this product looks like.
Yeah.
At least he will. So you are actually creating a brand awareness within the people who are in the villages.
Right.
They would always use some kind of a product which are quite cheap in price, and they use only that product for everything in their house, including washing their utensils as well. Now we tell them, hey, for utensils you take this, for this you take this, for this you take this. At least you're diversifying that market.
Right.
You are actually enabling the people below the poverty line to actually start using such products. And therefore you are creating a kind of a balance of production and balance of consumption.
I see. Wow, that's true. Yeah. So finally, people from second tier cities or second tier town, they can have a like higher quality product, yeah, for a affordable price. Yeah,
Absolutely.
and without, I think you are you. I agree with you when you say that these goods will be wasted or will be burned eventually without a Zaapko intervention. So this is not adding any more consumption. It's just using what is already there. Yeah, because you cannot predict, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that is also the beauty of our model is primarily, this is where we come into the picture, right? And in what way we are different? See, we are not just a liquidation partner,
Okay.
right? So we started as a liquidation partner.
Yeah.
And today we are also aiming to do a lot of managed services model, right? So what is a managed service model? Like, for example, a huge brand.
Yeah.
Let's take a huge international brand which has got about some 200 warehouses across Indonesia.
Wow. Yeah.
Now, how do you know that what is excess inventory in each and every warehouse? Right? It might not be real time because all these warehouses are in a distributed environment,
Right.
and many of them are not integrated with each other,
Yeah.
and the reconciliation happens manually.
Oh, really? There are big companies
huge
who
companies.
manually
Yeah,
reconcile
yeah.
their- Wow.
Like, for example, we get a list today,
Yeah.
and after 2 days, we come to know that whatever is there in the list, maybe 10% to 20% is not there actually.
Huh?
Yeah, it happens.
It happens.
It happens. Maybe the business units would probably, if there is a demand, they'll just go and pick it up. The systems are not updated real time. So then what happens? There's obviously, it gets updated over a period of time.
Yeah.
But on a real time, if you have to see and
Oh,
take
you
a stop,
cannot, yeah.
you cannot.
I get.
Because you are having multiple distributed environment, right?
Right.
Multiple warehouses.
Yeah.
So what we are actually coming up with a model is basically a managed services model where we take all the surplus inventory to our warehouse.
You have your own warehouse.
We rent our warehouses.
Where
So
is your
currently-
warehouse? Like,
So we have
how big?
multiple, across Indonesia, we have some selected hubs, right?
Oh.
So we don't own a warehouse,
Yeah.
but we actually seek it on rent,
Okay.
right? Because we are an asset-free company. We want to be an asset-free company.
Asset-free company.
Yeah.
Oh.
But because, it's again cost plus, right? So we want to be an asset-free company. But having said that, this model actually, when we are talking to a couple of international brands and they're quite open to this. So what happens is we take the entire surplus inventory to our warehouse
Okay.
and we manage them,
Okay.
and they pay a fee
Yeah.
for as a subscription fee for the for this kind of a model.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
So what we do is then we actually, with our team, we try to sell
Yeah.
and then give them a report saying that, hey, you have given us 100 units, we have sold, say, 10 units this week.
Yeah.
We've sold 20 units this week. So then what happens? The principal manufacturer need not struggle about the surplus inventory.
I see.
So we manage the entire inventory on a managed services model.
Yeah.
Well, they only focus on the regular business.
All right.
So this is a concept that we are actually, talking to a lot of international brands in Indonesia. And so this is a unique, I would say, a model which differentiates us from the rest of the people.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is we have a partnership with the fintech companies. Now, for example, if a buyer says, "Oh, I love your product, I love your price, but unfortunately, today I don't have the working capital.
Yes.
Can I buy this next month? Maybe I can't hold it till next month."
Oh,
So
yeah.
what I'll do is I'll connect them to the fintech partner,
Yeah.
and the fintech partner finances us.
Yeah.
Finances,
Give
they
upfront.
give the upfront money to us, and they have an agreement with the buyer. So the deal is done.
I see.
So we also provide a financing facility also for the buyer. So that's way we are different.
Wow. You have created an ecosystem like if you need financing, we can do that.
Absolutely.
If you need service on inventory, you can.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So what I'm saying is, though we started as a liquidation platform,
Yeah.
we are now coming up with a holistic, I would say, an inventory management intelligent system. Right? It's not just an inventory management system to take account of stocks in, stock out,
Yeah.
and things like that. But we also are building in some predictive analytics using the AI and trying to see what would be the inventory turnover ratio for the companies, how much they need to hold as per the industry standards. So then they know exactly what is the surplus inventory that they're holding. And so they also can do course corrections on their production. And the excess inventory can come to us on the platform. So there are a lot of thoughts going on this. Because that's where when you bring in a lot of intelligence into the system and also make sure that these things are piloted, implemented, that's where you are going to create a global impact.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
Or else you're just operating at a surface level, right? I mean, you're helping some company here, you're helping some buyers there, you're helping some fintech companies here. So we need to also scale. And to scale, we need to aim big. We need to think big. So these are some of the things that are hovering around our minds, all our partners' minds. And I think very soon you will see us with some innovative solutions in this particular fraternity.
Wow, it's interesting. Are you like thinking to create like an SaaS company for inventory management one day? Do you think that will happen?
Well, I think that's the aim, and I feel this is going to happen because this is not just a problem in Indonesia.
Okay.
This problem is there across the globe. Anyone who is manufacturing will have this problem.
I see. Wow.
Right? So the whole world is a green field for us. Right? But having said that, in Indonesia, why we actually focused is basically, Indonesia is a huge archipelago. We know that, it's made up of thousands of islands and things like that. There's always a problem in terms of the distribution.
Tell me about that.
So, for example, if you say a cost of a product, let's say is X in Java. It is maybe 1.2x in Sumatra, maybe 1.3x in Kalimantan, 1.4x in Ambon, maybe 1.5x in Jayapura. Right? So, as and when you go farther to the east, there is always a price differential.
Do you still experience that?
Why not? Yeah, absolutely yes. Okay. So what happens is, why the price differential comes is not because of the cost of the product. It is the cost of the distribution. Because there is no straight line from, say, Jakarta to Jayapura. It has to go through multiple islands, stop, pack, stop, load, cross dock. So many things happen. And it's a multimodal transport system. Right? Partially it goes by ship. Then it takes a surface, then it goes through a flight. From there it again goes through surface. So there's multi-mode transportation system.
Very expensive.
Very expensive. So naturally, when the product goes from here to there, it is going to have different price points. So this model actually negates that.
I see.
Because you're actually getting a product cheaper, a discounted price. You build in your cost of distribution will not change because it will be the same, whether you take a regular product or a excess inventory. But because you have a price advantage of a discounted price, you can actually factor this cost and build it in your price. So when this product goes to Jayapura, it is not going to be 1.5x, it may be 1.3x.
Oh, okay. So it really helps people in remote areas to have access to good products.
Absolutely. And that helps well because obviously a challenge is also there. Because it's a distributed archipelago. But we have to convert that challenge into an opportunity.
Right.
And what could be the best model other than Zaapko?
That's true. Wow, this is very interesting. So maybe people who watch this doesn't really truly realize how diverse Zaapko products or range of products. Can you tell us a little bit what did you sell in your platform?
Well, you'll be surprised. When we started Zaapko, we only focused on companies which have excess inventory, right? We never had a bifurcation that we have to go behind, say, FMCG vertical or probably a shoe vertical or any other vertical. We said, whoever is, kind of manufacturing in excess, let's sell. Right? So that's primarily the whole idea. So we started getting inquiries for excavators.
Excavators.
And so that was our first deal, by the way.
Yeah.
And these excavators inquiry was coming in from Kalimantan, obviously because you have a lot of mining sector over there. And we didn't know where to source them because obviously there are so many brands, right? I mean, you have Mitsubishi, you have Oscar Mas, you have so many brands.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So Komatsu is also there. So we actually started talking to each one of them and say that, hey, by the way, we have some inquiry here. So would you be able to help us source some used excavators? And the used excavators market is very huge in Indonesia because the life of an excavator is almost some 25 years.
25 years.
Yeah. And it's huge, right? I mean, there are all these earth movers and, sand trucks and all these things. So then we found out a few sellers who are interested to dispose that off.
Yeah.
So then we said, okay, so we found there was a demand, there was a supply.
Yeah.
But the buyer did not have cash.
Yes.
So he said, boss, this is a huge value. I mean, obviously you are talking about some 8 to 9 excavators, right? It's a huge value.
Yeah, one excavator price
approximately a used excavator will cost you about 1 billion.
Ooh,
right? So you're talking about 8 excavators, you're talking about 8 billion. And we were very clear that we would want the money upfront because we are also a startup, we are bootstrapped. And obviously we didn't want to take the credit and things like that. Yeah. So then we actually signed up with the fintech partner.
Yeah.
And then through the fintech partner, we were able to do this sale.
Okay.
Right. So if you ask me, we have sold excavators. We have sold sepatu, which is basically the industrial shoes we have sold. We have sold high-end beauty care products.
Wow.
We have sold beverages.
Yes.
Right. Beverages. Yeah. We have sold. We have sold nutrition items like ice creams and things like that.
Wow.
In the cold storage. So if you ask us, right, I mean, we have sold face masks.
Yeah.
Right?
I see.
Yeah. So, I mean, what happened was many companies manufactured face masks during COVID. And suddenly when COVID was not there, they had a pile of face masks. Where do you sell them? Because no one uses face masks.
Yeah.
So we creatively had to use some strategy to see, we spoke to some courier parcel companies. Right. Because at that point in time, even after the COVID, right, the riders, they were actually, they were made mandatory to use the face mask. So we actually tried to think out of the box and say, okay, let's go to the courier companies and try to sell that. So we actually did that actually.
I see.
Right. So it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. And it's been I would say that the journey is still on and we have a long way to go. And we are enjoying every moment of this journey.
Right.
Yes, we have our own roller coasters of this journey.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, we are happy.
Yeah.
And we are learning through the process. We are not only learning, we are unlearning and learning again.
Right.
And that's the beauty of any startup.
Learning and unlearning.
Absolutely. Wow. And if we fail also, we have failed, but we have also learned fast.
Right.
So, yeah, it's been great.
Awesome, Pa. I would like to ask you more questions, but why don't we drink a bit before?
Sure.
Yeah. Do you like coffee?
I'm a coffee person, Pa.
You're a coffee person.
Yeah,
we have Kopi Kenangan here, Pa. If you would like to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Coffee has been one of my favorites in Indonesia.
Do you like cappuccino or
no
Americano?
I am an Americano person. Especially what I do is in my home I've got different brands.
Oh.
Because I experiment every day different brands of coffee.
Yeah.
But given a preference, I would love to have a black coffee any day.
Okay.
Along with a little bit of fresh milk by the side.
Oh.
And with 2 sachets of brown sugar. That's my regular, beverage that keeps me going every day.
Wow. Yeah. So have you tried kopi luwak?
I have heard about it,
but
I haven't. I've been a little hesitant about it to try.
Yeah.
But I've been told that it's very nutritious.
The most expensive coffee.
The most expensive.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to, but I've been kind of pulling back myself each time I see kopi luwak.
Because you know the history of.
I know the history.
The production, yeah.
I know the history of the production, and that's exactly keeping me away.
Yeah, kopi luwak. Yeah, I see. You also mentioned that you like music, cooking, aviation, and photography. I'm interested in aviation. Like, are you taking pictures of?
No. Actually,
Are you play?
yes. I have also
Pilot?
been. Yes, I have been informally so-called trained on the Cessna flight,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
I always had a flair for aviation. And I used to, from my childhood, I've been reading books on aviation,
Oh.
and especially the two major giants, the Boeing and the Airbus, actually excites me.
Okay.
And I was so fascinated. I mean, my travel used to be extremely heavy, right? So I used to take almost 5 flights a week.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, right? And almost 22 to 23 days in a month I was out. Right? So, I mean, now it's not that much.
Yeah.
But in my younger days, I used to be a staunch traveler.
Yeah.
I visited more than about 30 countries.
Wow.
And I've been, as and when I used to take a flight, I used to get excited by the mechanism of flights. And then I started studying the aerodynamics.
Yeah.
I started studying a lot about the mechanics involved in flying a flight. And then informally, through some of my friends, I got into Cessna, took some rides,
Wow.
and laid my hands on the controls. and then I made a few friends who are the pilots in some of the Indian aviation. And each time I used to take a flight which had their rostering as a pilot.
Right.
So just to make sure that I get an entry to the cockpit.
Wow.
So, I mean, so I have experienced multiple takeoffs and landings right in the cockpit.
Wow.
Yeah, through my network. And that's how it started. And I love reading. I mean, in my free times, I keep, looking at some of the history of aviation, especially the commercial jets.
Yeah.
And not the fighter jets.
Yeah.
I'm a great enthusiast, and probably if we can have a podcast sometime on aviation, I would love to do that as well.
That's awesome. We should do that.
And I mean, every day I also keep looking at some air crash investigations. You have these episodes called Mentor. You have this episode called Mayday. So all these episodes are very fascinating, and I mean, it's like anything. If I get into a field, right, I would love to get to the deep of that particular field, right? I mean, you should get into the depth of that field. So I love that.
Wow, that's awesome, Pa. I think that's the key of your success is you always want to, like you said, learn and unlearn. And I think aviation is very complex. Do you think so?
I feel it's quite complex, but it's like this, right? Any job you pick up, right? It depends upon how you view it, right? I mean, yes, I mean, no job is easy, right? Even cooking, right? You need to have a lot of proper ingredients.
Yeah.
It's not easy to cook a meal.
Yeah.
At the same time, when you are taking a photography, making sure that you are having the exact subject into the frame with the entire depth of field.
Yes.
And waiting hours together for a tiger to pass through and then take a photograph. It's not, I mean, there have been days where I have camped for, couple of hours continuously to take a shot.
You take shot of birds as well?
I'm a certified wildlife photographer. Actually, I have taken a lot of, I've underwent a course on digital photography.
Yeah.
And I've visited a lot of forests. I've taken, I'll share some pictures with you.
Yeah, please share. We would like to add to our thumbnail or video.
So we have got a lot of pictures of the wild, the 5 big cats, and obviously the python, the king cobra, and the frogs.
How close would you be?
Well, it depends upon, for us, if you have to take a frog, I use a macro. Right? And obviously, if there are predators, then I use the bigger lens. So some of the shots I have taken in a forest called Ranganthittu in very close to Mysore, Bangalore.
Yeah.
And there you have a lot of alligators and crocodiles. So I've taken the fantastic pictures of a few of them. And also a challenge is basically to take a photograph of a bird in flight. So I've taken, So all these painted stalks and all this, pelicans. And so these guys migrate at a particular period
yeah.
there. So that time it's very colorful.
Wow, I would love to see that part.
Absolutely,
Guru.
I'll send
Maybe
it
next
across.
time we will
Sure.
Yeah, wow. That's very interesting, Pak Guru. So Pak Guru, I would like to ask you about how do you discuss about what is considered the surplus or excess inventory with the producer? Do they realize which one is surplus, which one is not, or you have to teach them, or you would like to propose, why don't we buy this good based on, you mentioned you have several goods, yeah.
So primarily everyone realizes, because obviously in a company, right, you have the president director, you have the CEO, you have the business heads, you have the CFO.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, obviously, if no one else realizes, at least the chief financial officer will definitely realize what's going on, because obviously he has to manage the funds of the company, and why there's a high inventory, why the costs are going high, why are we paying for this? Obviously, he's a person to question that, right? So obviously, he will have discussions internally with his business teams, and obviously the business heads, the sales heads are a tremendous pressure to sell.
Yeah.
Right. So they exactly know what is going surplus.
I see.
Right. So they are aware of it, and we don't have to teach them, because that's something that is obviously it is there in their DNA. They know exactly what is going wrong, what is going right for them.
Maybe they want to have a new branding, rebranding.
It could be anything. It could be it could be a change in the grammage. It could be probably a product that is being instructed to delist from some other headquarters. It could be multiple use cases, or it could be a wrong production. Right? Sometimes what happens is there's going to be, let's say that it's an international brand.
Yeah.
So let's say that brand in Philippines ask the same brand in Indonesia to produce some goods, because Philippines production is full.
Yes.
They can't produce. So it's an order-based production that happens in Indonesia.
Oh, intercompany. Yeah.
And suddenly Philippines realizes that, they have the order has been cancelled by the buyer.
Oh.
Now that becomes a surplus inventory again. And there's no point in taking that inventory again from Indonesia to Philippines.
I get it, yeah.
Right? Then that's foolish. So then, these are some of the use cases that frequently happen also, especially when you're having multiple international brands. Because each country relies on the other country.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I'm doing extremely good and I don't have any production free, the production line free, then probably I might check with another country, hey, do you have a production line which can produce maybe 100,000 cartons of this particular brand?
Right.
So like there's many use cases coming.
Wow. Okay.
Right? So to answer your question, people know exactly what they're sitting on. But what people should probably learn is not to sit on that for a long time and try to dispose it quickly to Zaapko.
Yeah, sometimes they feel like they can sell it by themselves, but there should be someone maybe to tell them, okay, we can sell better than you.
Absolutely.
Right?
So that's where what we do is we position ourselves as a sales arm for excess inventory.
I see.
So we become the liquidation arm.
Right. Okay. Very interesting. Yeah. Wow. All right. But knowing how large is this market on managing inventory, selling excess inventory, and Zaapko, you mentioned Zaapko is still a startup. You feel like Zaapko should behave like a startup, should grow the revenue even further. How do you make sure Zaapko is competitive against the similar companies, or do you ever feel like you should be worried about competition in this landscape?
But I would say more than competition, I think companies like us should focus on consolidation.
Wow.
Okay, there's no point competing, because at the end of the day, this is one world and one family, right? We all have a responsibility, and the bigger responsibility is not achieving numbers. Well, yes, numbers are important. Numbers are important for growth. Numbers are important for sustenance. Numbers are important from investors' point of view and things like that. So that's all given, right? But the larger, if you look at the impact, it's the environmental hazard.
Mm.
Now, I myself don't remember when I have seen this city, Jakarta, when I look up to the sky, I haven't seen a blue sky.
Right.
I've always seen a hazy sky.
Right.
And if you look at the air quality index of
Mm.
Jakarta today, it's at 155 plus.
It's worrying.
It's quite worrying. So I think what we all need to see is basically how do we collectively address this problem? Because it can't be addressed by one Zaapko.
Mm.
It can't be addressed by one competitor, two competitor. It's not that way.
Yeah.
Now, what we all need to do at some point in time is we need to have a, how do I say this, a blue ocean strategy.
Okay.
Okay, a blue ocean,
Yeah.
a calm ocean where everyone comes together for
Yeah.
a noble cause.
Yeah.
Like, for example, if I have the product, someone else has the customer.
Right.
I don't, it should not be such that I try to poach that customer.
I see. Yeah.
What we need to do is talk to that competition and say, hey, you know what, I have this product.
Mm.
Let both of us make money.
Okay.
Give that customer so that I'll supply to you, give it to that customer.
I see.
For example, he has a product, I have a customer.
Right.
It's vice versa. Why don't we do a trade-off?
Mm.
So I think the mentality of competition is extremely wrong, I feel.
I see.
I mean, in any field.
I see.
Going forward, you have larger problems in life to address.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? I mean, going behind the petty issues, going behind, this man has sold that at that price, so let me cut down the price. This is not the way to actually build brands. This is not the way to build businesses. We have seen many businesses going behind numbers. We have seen so many people, their valuations were like terrific, and suddenly you see many of them are closed today.
I see.
So we don't want to be in that situation. We want to make it more empathy-driven, empathy-driven solutioning.
Right.
Like, for example, if someone has a problem,
Yeah.
I'm not here to go and grab everything. I'm here to tell them that, boss, if you hold this, what is going to impact you?
I see.
Your financial health,
Mm.
your financial muscle power,
Yeah.
everything will be impacted.
Right.
Rather than that, give it to us so that we can take that pain.
Right.
Right? And we gain in the process.
Right. Both gains.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is where we are coming from. So it is not just helping this, suppliers. You're also helping the buyers. Because for them, if they go and buy in the open market, they might be paying 10% extra. But if they buy from us, they save the 10%.
Right.
Right?
Win-win situation.
It's a win-win for all.
Yeah.
Right? So if you ask me, there is you're not actually creating a competition at large. You are actually consolidating the entire stakeholder community.
Creating an ecosystem.
Create a
community.
complete ecosystem. Create kind of a consolidated economy.
Yeah.
And solve the bigger problem.
Wow. Yeah.
And I think this should be the mindset across all the liquidation partners.
Very interesting. I have a follow-up question with that. What is your vision for Zaapko in the future? And I'm interested. What does Zaapko means? Yeah.
Well, it's a very unique name. Like if you see Amazon, right?
Yeah.
If you see that Amazon, you have A to Z, there is a small
Smile.
curve.
Yeah.
Right? So we wanted to do Z to A. So something very close to that. So that's how we named it as Zaapko.
Oh.
Right? So that's one story. And second is, we didn't want a true meaning to that. Because many companies, what we have seen is without meaning, they are becoming successful.
I see.
Right? So that is one part of the story for Zaapko.
Yeah.
And the vision is very simple. I mean, this is a global problem.
Yeah.
We are a very humble, we are a very nimble organization today. So we have just, begun the journey in Indonesia. And by the way, I'm very pleased to let you know that we are the only liquidation company in Southeast Asia who have been ranked number 10.
Wow.
Yeah, in the entire Southeast Asia.
Wow.
Yeah.
Liquidation company.
Yeah.
Wow.
B2B e-commerce company. We have been ranked under top 10.
Wow.
Right? So that's one.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Pa. So primarily our vision is basically to set up in Indonesia completely.
Yeah.
Bring in some use cases.
Yeah.
Then replicate the same model in other geographies.
Wow.
Yeah, we have a similar problem in Thailand. We have a similar problem in Cambodia. We have similar problem in Manila.
Yeah.
We have similar problem in India. We have similar problem in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
US has also got the same problem, right? So
Yes.
we want to make
problem.
sure that we create a global platform, and we are doing that.
Mm.
So primarily, anyone, anywhere, and from any device can order from anywhere and buy from here. So Indonesia becomes the hub for supplies, and the entire world becomes the hub for buying, and also vice versa. So that's something. I mean, as I said, the vision is to create an ecosystem.
Yes.
And make sure that globally we are. I mean, to send out a message. We are one family, and we need to make sure that we are helping the communities of sellers and buyers on one side. At the same time, the larger picture should be that we need to contribute towards reduction of carbon emission.
Wow, that's awesome. But I think companies like yours really would help manufacturing sector in Indonesia. We have been our manufacturing sectors has been decreased in the last decades, maybe due to competitiveness, but maybe you can help by reducing their burden of excess inventory, making us better inventory management system, and hopefully the vision you mentioned will be realized. But
but only thing what we have on mind is the suppliers should think about us.
Yes.
When there is a surplus inventory, and they should stop worrying about surplus inventory.
Okay.
They should think that even if I produce more, it's okay. Zaapko is there.
Zaapko is
okay. So that's from the supplier side.
That's good. Yeah.
And the buyer should always say, hey, by the way, let's do one thing. Let's first see whether this product is available on Zaapko so that we can get a better price.
Right.
So we should be the first choice of their purchase. Right. And the finance company should look forward to different leads from Zaapko saying that, let's wait for Zaapko's leads to come in so that we can fund them. Right. So it is basically to create a win-win proposition for all the three stakeholders.
Right.
So we should be remembered that way.
Wow. Thank you, Pa. The last questions, Pa, for you.
Sure.
I think many of our audience are professional but also entrepreneur. They aspire to become a startup founder and manager or executive like you. What is your one advice for aspiring entrepreneur to succeed?
Well, Pa, entrepreneurship is definitely not an easy journey, but definitely it is exciting.
Okay.
Because number one, you are not fulfilling someone else's dream. You're actually fulfilling your own dream, right? And to fulfill your dream, that should be your vision. The vision is to fulfill your dream. And to get to that vision, what you need is basically three things, Pa.
Okay, Pa.
The most important thing is focus. You cannot afford to get distracted. If you have a vision, if you have a plan, stick to the plan. Just be focused. There are many things that will come. You might also experience days where you say that, to hell with all these things. Let me go back and work. Right? So you got to be focused. This is number one, right? There's no shortcut to being focused.
Right.
Focus is the one. Second thing is, you got to be dedicated to what you're doing. Obviously, when you see others doing something different, you get distracted.
Yes.
Right? Okay, am I doing right, etc. This is
Self-doubt.
So you got to be dedicated, and most importantly, you got to believe in yourself. The self-belief is extremely important. Yes, deals come and go. Losses happen, profits happen, right? And you got to actually believe in yourself. So focus, dedication, and self-belief. I think these are the three non-negotiable, I would say, ingredients to have a successful entrepreneurial life. And actually, as I always say in many forums, right? I mean, success can never be a destination. Right? I mean, if you say, am I successful? I can only answer that I'm in the trajectory of success. I'm in the journey of success. But no one has attained a destination of success so far.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very relative. It's very subjective, right? I mean, you can't define through a index.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It can't be a percentile, or you can't say I'm 80% successful, 90%.
Not measurable, yeah, but
It's kind of totally intangible.
yeah.
Right? So as long as the founders, the managers, the workers are enjoying what they are doing,
Right.
and they are focused, they are dedicated, and they believe in themselves. Because if I don't believe in myself, no one else will believe me. Why would a supplier believe me? Why would a buyer believe me? Why would a fintech company believe me? If I don't believe myself, I should have that conviction that yes, this is the model. This is something that I should make it work.
Yeah.
And if you can get these three things on a straight line,
Right.
the focus, dedication, and self-belief, I don't know whether they'll reach the destination of being successful, but definitely they will enjoy the journey of being successful.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pak. That's very inspiring.
Thank you,
Pak Guru. Pak Guru, thank you for sharing your insights and story with us. I think many of the audience will be inspired to learn from what we have discussed today. Really enjoyed talking with you, Pak.
Oh, pleasure is mine, Pa. Pleasure is mine, and thanks for having me. Thanks for inviting me here, and it was an exciting session, Pa.
Thank you, Pak. It's
Thank
very
you.
exciting. Thank you, Hivers, for listening to this podcast. It's really an exciting discussion with Pak Guru. Hope to see you again in the next episode of Hive Intelligence, where we learn about business, finance, and leadership. Thank you, and bye-bye.